welcome to this episode of the Reset Podcast. I'm your host, Laura Mignot. This is part of my 29 Fates of Magic series where I interview 29 phenomenal Black women to try to space days in February. And today, I am very, very happy because I have the incredible Evan Seymour on the show today. And Evan is an amazing publicist, founder of the incredible group Black Women Entertainment, and so much more. I cannot wait to talk to her about all the cool things she's up to right now. Let's jump on in. Hey, Evan.
Hi there, Laura. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on your show. This is so exciting.
I'm so happy to have you on the show. It took us 2 years, I'm not gonna lie, but that's okay. Like, we got you here. Fine. But I want to kick the show off with the first question. Well, the end is always great, and I feel like yours are going to be hilarious. So, Evan, what's your all-time favorite job?
Oh my gosh, that is such a hard question to answer because I've done everything from being a fifth grade writing teacher in New Orleans to being a global publicity lead at Apple TV Plus and a bunch of things in between. I would say that my favorite job was being the founder of my agency, ERS Public Relations. I started the agency in its initial iteration in March of 2020 when I was laid off at the beginning of the pandemic, and started the agency. And within 3 months or so, I had Warner Brothers, CBS, a variety of other amazing clients. And so it was my first foray into entrepreneurship, and it was a great opportunity to learn so much about myself and about business, and to step into my power in a different way than I ever had before, because I was the boss. So yeah, that was my favorite role.
I love how you just gloss over the legendary stuff that you're doing in the middle of a pandemic. They'd be like, and Warner Brothers. Ma'am, really?
Yeah. I felt very, very fortunate. It was a big moment in my career to start the agency. And I did an initial round of new business development and sent emails to folks when I started the agency. But I really, honestly, didn't have to do that much outreach, but it was because of the relationships that I had developed up to that point. And, my work spoke for itself. The relationships that I had were fantastic. And people wanted to see me win. And so I was able to scale more quickly than is usually the case. I stayed a solopreneur for the majority of the time that I had the agency, until I had Discovery as a client before they acquired Warner Brothers. And to secure that contract, which I was doing a corporate communications work for them, I had to hire 2 additional folks for that. So that was also my first time scaling and hiring anyone. And a few months later, I ended up being offered an in-house role as an exec at Warner Brothers. And I thought that it would be really cool and fun and a great learning opportunity to be a studio executive. So I went and did that. And honestly, I think that were it not for my being laid off, quickly pivoting within a couple of weeks to starting my own agency, and the work that I did with my agency, I think that was a huge turning point in my career. I found myself being the direct point of contact with the SVPs and studio heads, and these people who maybe there would have been 1 or 2 layers in between me and them before. And so I think that work was instrumental in me being selected and reached out to for my first job as a studio exec.
I love this story so much, and there's so much in here that you're leaving out. So I want to, because this doesn't happen by accident, Evan. Your fabulous does not just roll off the tongue as if it was just a fantastic story. How did we get here? Like, how does one become a studio exec? What does that even mean for folks?
My path has been very circuitous, very, very seemingly all over the place, but really not. And it took me a while to realize how, you know, to realize to realize that everything happens for a reason and that everything has built upon the thing before it. I went to Spelman College for my undergraduate work. I majored in English. I minored in Spanish. Now, before I went to Spelman, I went to a community college, Pasadena City College. I am from Pasadena in Southern California, home of the Rose Bowl, neighboring city to Altadena, where we know the Eaton fires took place. My parents' first home was actually in Altadena, so that's where I lived for the first 7 or so years of my life. Anyhow, I went to Pasadena City College to start because, my mom let me know, hey, we don't have the money to send you to school. And it was senior year, and I was really upset with her. But I went there, and I got a scholarship from the school, and I got a little scholarship from Burger King that came with a coupon for a Whopper, which I did use eventually. But Pasadena City College, and then I transferred to Spelman. And that is important because while I was at Spelman, one of my professors, Beverly Tate, who I'm still very close with, she was my professor at PCC. And she called me one day and she said, hey, Evan, there is an internship at Tavis Smiley's show on PBS. This was years ago, obviously. I know I look young, but it was a long time ago. And you should apply. But the application was due like the next day, maybe 2 days later. And so I applied. One of my professors, he taught this class, African Diaspora in the World, was Dr. William Jelani Cobb, who I think now is the head of the journalism school at Columbia. Anyway, so I go to Dr. Cobb and I'm like, hey, I need you to write this letter of recommendation for me. It's due tomorrow. But he does it.
No pressure.
And I get the internship. And that was my first job, or my first internship in the entertainment industry, in journalism. And I went in, I had to do an in-person interview and ended up talking to a couple of the producers for like an hour and a half. You know, we're just chopping it up, talking about all sorts of things. And then they offered me the opportunity to be the intern who worked directly with Tavis. So of every cohort of interns, one person gets that opportunity. And I was the person who was selected. And so that was my initial experience in the world of broadcast. And had it not been for me starting at Pasadena City College, I likely would not have ever known about that opportunity. And had I not continued to cultivate that relationship with Professor Tate. So did that. And then went to USC for grad school, got a presidential scholarship, which was a full merit-based scholarship to USC. I only applied to the top 3 journalism schools at the time, which was Northwestern, USC, Southern California, and University of Maryland. So University of Maryland was number 3. It was the one that I didn't get into. I got into Northwestern and I got into USC. I decided to go to USC because I know, right? But I got a full ride, and like
who's saying no to that?
Exactly. And like I didn't have money like that. Like I didn't have a computer when I was in school. I was an English major and a Spanish minor, and I didn't have the money for a laptop. So I used to handwrite my papers, and then I would type them in the computer lab, email part of the draft to me, work on a friend's laptop, but like I got it done. So it was huge. Like I also had a teaching assistantship while I was there, working at Annenberg News. So that was my first. So, I was managing the news desk. And then I ended up, oh, this is important actually. While I was in journalism school, I did a fellowship through the Fund for American Studies in political journalism at, so I was taking, was I taking economics and philosophy courses at Georgetown, and while also interning at the local Fox affiliate, which is very different than Fox News, to everyone. And then I had a mentor who was a White House correspondent. So I'm doing all this. Also, it's 2008. So this is like when, this is the Obama era. And so do that, have this amazing summer. I speak at the press club, which is the first time I've ever given a speech. Go back to school, have a gnarly bout of depression. I end up actually leaving grad school with like a 3.839 something early. Moved to New Orleans. I teach writing. I teach reading intervention. This is in 2009, so it's only a few years post Hurricane Katrina. And I do do post-bac work in secondary education at Tulane. I also did a writing workshop curriculum at Teachers College, and like I said, I was teaching to, kids it was post-Katrina, and we were writing stories and poems and essays and all sorts of things. Teaching is not my ministry. I ended up I taught for 4 years, and honestly,
but not me.
I still have relationships with some of my students. I loved writing, and I loved the workshop model, and writing these mentor texts, right? So to show my students different craft elements. So I end up moving back to LA because I want to focus on my writing. I work in a job that has nothing to do with writing for a short time. I am helping to coordinate this big fundraiser, meet the wife of a big-time entertainment attorney. Sean Robinson was one of his clients. She was a host at Access Hollywood at the time. And then she was like, hey, I need an assistant. So, are you interested? And I was. And so I started with her right before the Emmys. So 2 weeks into that job, I was on the red carpet at the Emmys.
Because of course.
So what you said, I was thinking about the other day. Yeah. So my first job in broadcast journalism was at Access Hollywood, and that does not happen to anyone.
Ever, except for you.
Yeah, except for me. After a short bit of time, I ended up they created a role on the news team for me, because somebody was like, let me see your resume. And they were like, you did a journalism fellowship at Georgetown. You went to USC. Like, yeah, come here, come do this. And I ended up sitting next to someone who had been in my cohort at USC. And that was such an affirming moment for me because, I really beat myself up about leaving grad school. It felt like a failure at the time. And, I'm not someone who is a quitter. And, I'm thinking all these things and like being really hard on myself. And it was a moment where for me, I just really felt like God was telling me, like, I got you. Don't worry. Like, everything that is for you is going to be for you. And this is your path and your path alone. So did that. Ended up going to the other side of the red carpet. I like to say after 2 years, started working in PR. Again, really fast trajectory. I started at a boutique agency called the Purple Agency. I was working with artists like Daniel Caesar, Anthony Hamilton. I worked on PR for I think it was the first, maybe the second One Music Fest. The Dungeon family was reuniting. That was amazing. What else did I do? Oh, I did PR for the remix of Despacito with Justin Bieber and Luis Fonsi. So I was doing the US press for that. So like I'm like 6 months or so into being a publicist, and I'm like booking The Voice and Kimmel and Fallon and Ellen and all sorts of things. And then I ended up doing PR at Sundance that year. And my birthday is January 23rd. So I actually spent my birthday that year in Park City. And I was doing PR for an organization called the Black House Foundation. And so I immediately knew that I wanted to do PR in film and television, because all of this goes back to my love of writing and storytelling. I was that kid who was writing stories from a young age, I was reading Babysitter Club books when I was like 6 years old. I was a voracious reader. Like I would take books with me in the car, or when we would, go to family friends' houses, and my parents would be like, Evan, you need to leave the book in the car. Like you have to talk to human beings while you're here. You can't just read. It's antisocial. It's like, oh, okay, fine. So yeah, did that. Ended up working at an agency called the Allied Global Marketing. I was doing PR, multicultural I did everything from Bumblebee, Teen Titans Go to the Movies, blah, blah, blah. First season of Rhythm and Flow. I don't know, lots of things. Got laid off from that job, started my own agency, then ended up in the role as an exec at Warner Brothers, launched All American Homecoming, did blah, 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 other things. I was only there for 6 months, and then I got poached by Apple TV Plus, where I was on their series team as one of the global publicity leads, and was there for a little over 2 years. Worked on Monarch Legacy of Monsters, which is a Godzilla IP that had Kurt Russell in it. I worked on a lot of things. And then I had recently gotten back from Tokyo working on a Rashida Jones project. And then I went to tennis lessons one day. And then when I was finished, there were all these texts on my phone from Black women from different times in my life saying that there was a Win with Black Women call. It was July 21st. It was the day that Joe Biden announced that he was not going to be running. So we knew, obvi, that, Kamala Harris was going to be the nominee. And so I got on the Win with Black Women call. I felt really, really inspired. They mentioned these pods that they were going to form of people, like, gather a few of your friends, and you all can work together to get out the word and support VP Harris. And so I texted a couple folks. That turned into the WhatsApp for Black Women in Entertainment for Kamala, which went from like 10 people to 100 people pretty much overnight to like 500 people, within a couple of weeks. And it was a wild, amazing journey. You know, I found myself from never having another first. I'd never fundraised for a candidate. And now I was, you know, connected directly with VP Harris's team. On the entertainment side, I'm in direct communication with, you know, big producers like Deborah Martin Chase and Susan Fales Hill. I'm planning fundraisers. I'm planning national Zoom calls. I'm going to convention. I'm doing all these things. Oh, and in the midst of all this, uh, very early on, I made the decision to leave my role at Apple because I knew that there was no way that I could do both things and get any sleep. Also, there was no way that I would be able to have that role and be vocal about anything having to do with politics. And it was a really hard decision that involved a lot of tears and prayer and thought. And I made the decision and I, you know, pushed forth from there. And so that was 2 years ago. Now I have Black Women in Entertainment because so many people were like, wait, after the election, we're not done, right? And I was like, I guess not, because we do need spaces to support one another. And I relaunched my agency, ERS Public Relations. So that is the long story long of the many things that I have done in my career that really all have fed into one another. I have learned skills and met people in each place where I've been that has continued to benefit me as a professional and as a human being.
Yeah. I love how you again are minimizing a little bit of your awesomeness. Because you know what you were able to do in a matter of weeks to stand up an organization that had some of the most fire Black women on the planet, all making donations, volunteering, Zoom calls, all the things to do everything we possibly could to try and save the world. And you know, having had a front row seat to that, what you did was amazing, and
Thank you.
a testament to like you're always in the right place where you need to be. That's the thing that I wonderfully see through your entire story is that like when some folks think, oh well, you know, I have to take a step back and maybe go to this community college before going to the big one. Well, hey, that doesn't. If I don't do that, I'm not sitting in the time of smiling. So, but also going to the places, and you know, it's something that we talk about a lot in the show is where it's like showing up is half the battle because if you're not at the place, then no one knows who you are. If you are sitting at home, like you're not going to meet those people. You're not going to be in those rooms, and at those moments where folks are like, "Oh, you, come here."
Yeah.
And I think your story more than anything else is a testimony to that. And how you continue to grow and how you continue to make those moves because like it's never easy. Those are hard. And then we have to make those hard choices of being like, well, hey, do I keep this job that pays quite well, or do I try and do a thing that might change the world for the better? And even if it doesn't work out, that's okay too. Because one foot in the front of the other, something more magical will become along the way. I feel like I think you are like a walking, talking testimony of just keep going.
I get told frequently that I am very resilient, and I'm like, your girl be tired. But
Yeah, see, I don't use it.
I mean,
yeah,
you have to keep going, and that doesn't mean that it's not really hard and painful at times. And when I say you have to keep going, you also have to rest when you need to rest. Keep going doesn't mean don't take care of yourself. It doesn't mean don't take the time that you need to sit down, lay down, cry, whatever it is that you need to do. But ultimately you have to keep moving forward. And I have said for a long time, the worst someone can say is no. I said that before I became a publicist. And as a publicist, you are pitching people on things. You're constantly like, not only will people say no, sometimes people just won't respond when you're a publicist, and so yeah, you have to show up. You have to put yourself out there in order for you to get any opportunity. So, yeah, you have to keep moving forward. You have to learn your lessons. Um, and that's just, it just is what it is. That's life. And if you embrace
What's
it,
key?
that'll help it to be a little less painful, at least.
A little less.
Yeah.
I am. If I hear one more thing about being a strong Black woman and being really resilient, I will slap somebody. It's like I choose now, and I haven't learned along the way that, like, yeah, if I don't rest, I'm useless. It's not going to help. So it's like I call it sort of my like relentless rest. It's like where I can go, but I have got to the same level of hustle I have to have, the same level of rest I have to have, so that I am not in this position of like, "Ah, help me,"
Yeah,
because you're no good to anybody, and I want
absolutely.
folks to do that. I want folks
Yeah.
to do that because we're no good if we can't, breathe, like, are not having mysterious illnesses because, like, it doesn't. No one can figure out
Yep.
what's wrong with you because, like, you haven't had a real sleep in like 2 years. Yeah, no, that's not helpful. No.
Right. I have to remind myself of that consistently because I can be very I can be very intense and I'm very type A, but also just like driven, it's like we're gonna do this. And you
The
can you
thing.
can do that, but you have to incorporate rest. You have to have balance. And I think that, you know, God teaches us lessons until we've mastered them. And we continuously get these pop quizzes to see, like, well, did you really learn that lesson? And that's one that, like, I don't, I'm still mastering it. I'm really trying to like get better. But Laura, one of the things that is so important is having a strong community around you. And Drake made that song, No New Friends, whenever he made that song. And I think that's the dumbest thing ever. And it's just the
It's
antithesis
Drake.
of the way that I live my life. And, you and I met each other as a result of Black Women Entertainment for Kamala, as a result of our mutual Kamala, who connected the dots with us. And then you were 10 toes down from day one, and you were a producer on our 2 national Zoom calls, including our Different World reunion, and we had Auntie Maxine, and we had Congresswoman Sanders, and all sorts of Robin Thede, Deborah Mark Chase, so many people. But continuing to build community and cultivate relationships and pour into those relationships is an essential part of this human experience.
It isn't. It is a theme that is really impactful this year, more than I want to say more than ever on the show because of obviously the world we are in today. But it is so important that you build community. And yeah, obviously Drake would say something terrible. No, no friends. That's why he is the way he is. But
They not like us.
because
Listen, I'm from Cali, so I'm speaking.
they're not like us. Same, New Yorker. We are all on Team Chandrik's side. Um, but the thing is that the reason why it's so important to have community is because you can't ride this journey alone. And anyone who tells you that they are doing that is going to fail. And
Absolutely.
it's not that it's just there's no way around it. Like, and community can look like so many different things. And
Absolutely.
it doesn't need to be thousands of people. It doesn't need to be everyone has to be exactly the same. There's no nuance. Nuance is the spice of life, and you want to be around folks who maybe you're all around a shared goal, but like you come at it from so many different ways that you each have something unique and special to offer, which is an imperative. It just is.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
um when we were in the foxhole together, trying to save the world, like you saw the best of it. I mean, we saw the best of it because folks were just like, okay, this is crazy. Let's just go. All right, bet. And like, you're on these calls with these like super senior people. You're like, what is my, but like,
Yeah, it was
it,
it was a wild
it
ride.
was it was a very I'm like, what is where who are we talking to? Okay, great. You were there with Oprah and Kamala? Like it was like, okay. Like, but I think it was, and again, I think the ride is the story at all times when we think about those moments where it's like,
Yeah.
no matter the outcome, like being able to build those bonds along the way. And like when you go through some things together, it bonds you together, like trauma bonding.
Yes.
but like, but it's like, but I do think it also allows people to be vulnerable
Yeah.
and to learn from each other and create safety. And I think that safety is essential, especially right now where folks
Absolutely.
are feeling all manner of things and need to be able to like talk to some people, feel okay,
Yeah.
and like know that things will be all right. Like that is a part of all of it. So I think it's just essential to try and keep those lines of communication open, check-ins, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's an essential piece that we have to do. And thinking about all that,
Absolutely.
like having gone through that amazing road that you've been on, why do you think you'd tell 18-year-old Evan?
um I think I would tell 18-year-old Evan, God, so many things. Like, girl, don't take yourself so seriously. Um, you're amazing. Everything is going to be fantastic. Stop being so hard on yourself. Um, yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, I would have a lot of advice for her. Maybe be less of a turn up queen in college. I don't know.
Girl, why?
I would have a
No. I
variety of
mean,
pieces of advice for. Oh, one thing that I haven't said is, you know, don't be scared to pursue your passions. And I say that because, you know, the thing that I have loved the longest is writing. And I didn't, you know, fully throw myself into writing because I was scared, because I doubted my ability, because I didn't want to be a starving artist, because I didn't have, you know, a family of means. I mean, I grew up comfortably, but like I needed to make money. Um, and and so I've been around artists for so long, right? And I write all the time for my work in comms. Um, but I'm just now starting to pour into myself as a writer. And so I think I would encourage my younger self to be more consistent uh, with my writing. It's like, you can do it.
I love that. And thinking about where we are right now, I think I know this is gonna go. What's one thing you're really grateful for?
My community. Yeah. I'm thankful for so many things. I mean, I have a gratitude journal, and when I'm at my best, I
Same way.
I write down 3 things for which I am grateful over the course of a day, and it can be something as small as the dollar earrings that I bought at a yard sale this morning while I was on my walk, to uh, paying for my first trip to Hawaii in cash, like whatever. It can be anything. But yeah, I would say my community. more than anything. You know, everyone from my mom, who is my biggest supporter and champion, to the folks in Black Women in Entertainment, just everybody who's part of my community, because I wouldn't be who I am, where I am, were it not for all of the people who have been there along the way through various phases of my life journey.
I love that. That's good. That's a really good one. And it's true. It really is true. It takes a village, literally and figuratively, to get us where we need to go. My last question for you. You have a give and or an ask of the audience. So the give could be here's a great book. The ask could be like take care of yourself. Whatever you want it to be. Go.
Ooh, a give or an ask. I would ask people to take the time each day to breathe deeply and be still, even if it's only for 60 seconds. Give yourself that gift.
I love that. Also, you're like the second person this season to say something like that. Like, apparently, this is a theme, and it's so necessary. It's called "Sit Your Ass Down for a Minute and Relax." It's necessary. Like,
yeah, it's so important. Absolutely,
it really is. Put your feet on the ground and
then breathe.
Literally.
Mm-hmm.
In your nose, out your mouth. It's imperative.
Absolutely.
This has been wonderful. Oh, Evan, I'm so glad. Evan, I adore you, and I am in awe of what you're able to do. Oh, thank you, darling. You know, like I said, we were in the foxhole together. That's it, bro.
Yeah, we were.
But more importantly, I am in awe of how you just continue to just do wonderful, wonderful work. And
thank you.
I'm so glad I was able to get you to be part of 29 Days of Magic, because it took a while. But it was well worth the wait. And I love that you got to share your story, because I think it will impact a lot of folks to hear how you were able to navigate this wonderful journey called life. So thank you so much for being part of 29 Days of Magic.
And thank you for having me, Laura. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I love you dearly, as you know.
Love you too, darling. All right. And that is our show.
From the parents behind Law & Order comes a mystery the whole family can enjoy. Patrick Picklebottom Everyday Mysteries. Step into the whimsical world of Patrick Picklebottom, a precocious 11-year-old with a love for reading and an uncanny ability to solve mysteries. Inspired by the beloved children's book of the same name, this podcast vividly brings Patrick's tales of deduction and everyday adventures to life as he unravels baffling enigmas and solves clever cases. Patrick Picklebottom Everyday Mysteries is perfect for kids and is just as entertaining for grown-ups who love a good mystery. The whole family can listen now, wherever you get your podcasts.
The world of Sonic the Hedgehog has been thrust into a not-so-dark, not-so-stormy hard-boiled detective story that probably nobody saw coming. Follow Sonic and the intrepid Chaotix Detective Agency as they take on their biggest case yet. This high-flying, action-packed adventure will take them across the world, fighting for every clue they can find. It's one heck of a tale, which is good, because this story might be the only thing that can save their lives.
Well, if that's all, I can just dispose of you.
Wait, what?
All will be revealed in Sonic the Hedgehog presents The Chaotix Case Files. Listen now, wherever you get your podcasts.
When the Chaotix are on the case.